Hey, what is up folks, this is Shaheel. So, let me tell you something. The iPhone 12 Pro Max costs $1,099 in the US for the base model, but that same iPhone model in India costs $1,748. The price gap was enough for people to make jokes about how you could buy a ticket to Dubai, buy the iPhone from there, spend a day or two there, cover all the expenses, come back to India, and then still have a few bucks left over. So in today's video, I'll try to give an answer as to why some products cost more in India than in the US. First reason is that Apple does not have a manufacturing plant in India. They make their iPhones from countries outside of India. They actually collect components and puts together iPhone from components arriving from over 30 different countries. So Apple has to import the iPhones to India and then sell them here. And that makes the process in itself a bit more expensive. But why? Why not a manufacturing plant in India? I mean, if Apple could get their iPhones cheaper, then it would bring in more customers, right? If only it were as simple as that. Well, there's an Indian law that states if a company needs a manufacturing plant in India, then they need to have at least 30% of their components sourced from India. Since Apple uses components coming from around 30 different countries, it's not really possible for Apple to manufacture iPhones in India. Now, if I said that they don't manufacture iPhones in India at all, it would be a lie. Because the Taiwanese Apple supplier Foxconn has actually produced some iPhones in India. Some models like the iPhone 12 and XR and some other older iPhone models were actually produced in India. But since Foxconn is not a first-party Apple manufacturer, and also since they have to import all the components, it doesn't get the process that much cheap. And reason number 2 being importing itself. Since Apple has to import a lot of things to get their iPhones to India, Indian customs actually has a custom duty imposed on products that is being imported to India. Not just Apple, but every single brand who has to import their products to India is actually being imposed a certain percent of custom duty on their products. But even after that, we shouldn't forget that there are taxes to pay. After all these importing and manufacturing, Apple has to pay taxes to the central government as well as the state governments. Right now, the goods service taxes or GST is 18% on smartphones, which was earlier 12% but has been increased last year. Now, after Apple has to pay all these taxes and importing duties and every single thing, they manufacture and put together their iPhones, and all these costs that Apple has to pay, they get carried over, and that becomes the retail price of the iPhone in India. Which brings me to my next point, retail stores. Apple themselves don't have a retail store in India. So if you want to buy an iPhone in India, it has to be from a third-party retailer who might or might not be Apple authorized. Now the reason for this is the same as why you can't have a manufacturing plant in India, because then you'll have to source 30% of the components from India itself. And right now, at this point, Apple doesn't do that. You see, it's not just the iPhones that cost a lot in India. The iPad Pro in the US starts at $799, but in India, it starts at $970, roughly after conversion. The MacBook Air starts at $999 in the US. In India, it goes for around $1,250, again, roughly after conversion. The iMac, the Mac Pro, AirPods, HomePod, AirTags, you get the idea. Now for the question that you will want to ask. Will iPhones get any cheaper in India soon? After the US-China trade issues, Apple is said to be moving majority of its manufacturing in India. The Taiwanese Apple supplier, Foxconn, is said to be investing a lot of money in manufacturing plants in India, and so is Wistron, who is another Apple supplier. But if Apple can somehow get around the 30% sourcing rule, then it's going to be a win-win both for the customers and Apple themselves. But until then, I'm afraid that we'll have to pay a fortune for iPhones in India. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Comment down everything that you would want to ask or anything that you think of this video. Those are really valuable for me. And lastly, subscribe for more awesome content. Until we meet the next time, goodbye.